What's up, Cowboy Nation, Cowboy Headquarters, and America's team? It's Wednesday. You know what that means? That means it's What's Up Wednesday. Yeah, we back again, right back at you with some more news, rumors, and updates. And we're here to talk about our Dallas Cowboys. So what's up, Cowboy Nation, and everybody out there that's supporting this channel? We want to say thank you for being a part of this channel. Here we are. Yeah, and I am joined by some heavy hitters on the panel tonight. We got next to me, allow me to butt in, Roo in the house, and below is the man with 9 million followers on TikTok.
It's like 8,999. We're missing one from the million.
21 Armando 21 is in the house. What's going on, fellas? How's everybody doing today?
We are doing awesome, bro. It's What's Up Wednesday. I'm hyped. You know, there's not much going on, but hey, we signed the kicker, y'all.
Man. Yeah, for real, man. We are here. We are here, man. So yeah, man. Chris will be on a little bit later. We're still sending out prayers for B2 Real. His dad is in the hospital right now, but we're definitely lifting him up and everything. So, you know, we just want to say what's up with everybody, and we're gonna get right on into this, man. Let's talk about it. You know, I know right now what our biggest concern. Well, let's see who's in the room first. We got okay, Brandon Harris he's here. He's checking us out. We got Buzz in the house. What's up, Buzz? Buzz in the house tonight.
Jose's in the building.
Yeah, that gonna be too real.
Yeah. I hope everything's all right, man. Hope Pops is getting better. I know it's tough.
Yeah. We got them all in the house tonight. Yeah. Hey yo.
My boy Eddie. You guys haven't checked out Eddie. Eddie's a photographer out in Dallas, man. Shout out my boy Eddie, man.
We gotta get together. Yeah. We gotta definitely get together, see if we can get some photos. And there's Cowboy Babe 22. I'm sure that 22 is representing Emmitt Smith.
Yeah.
We got Big Pete in the house. What's up, Big Pete? Yeah, Pete's in the house. He got great content as well, man.
Yeah, sure.
Got great content. So hey, fellas, here we are, man. We are moving right along, man. A lot of things taking place as we start this free agency and things like that, and man. And we got the second day of franchise tag taking place, and right now,
and you know what's crazy to me is that we haven't heard anything.
Nah.
So is this what we're calling the calm before the storm?
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
Once one domino falls.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
As soon as they drop, as soon as they start doing what they do.
Yeah, for real. And and with that being said, man, I think a lot of this it's gonna stem from what they do with Dak, man, and his contract. Right. As far as the extension, restructure, we don't know. I think and I don't know. I just don't know how they're gonna go about, moving forward without dealing with Dak first, man. I mean, that's where, with the extension, we can actually free up some money to bring in some free agents. So I don't know how soon y'all think we'll hear anything from about Dak.
I don't know. What do you? I mean, I feel like you're saying once we figure out that Dak situation, then everything else will kind of fall into like, okay, you know how Tetris, you got to move those pieces, and once you hit that one piece, that Dak, are we gonna restructure? Yeah. Are we gonna extend?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? And then we'll see where that cap is at, but. we got to figure out something, man. If we're gonna free up cap space, and I mean, there's money there.
Yeah.
Mike went out and put it out. He said, "There's money there. We need to go spend it."
Yeah, for sure, man. And that's the thing. So let's get right on into this, man. The first report we got, man. If I don't know if you guys have heard or not, we have a quarterback coach. How about that? We got a new quarterback coach. His name is Scott Tozen. I guess that's how you pronounce his name. This guy here, he said he spent 3 seasons as an office assistant with the Cowboys. He played for the Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy in Green Bay, serving as a backup quarterback for the Packers from 2013 to 2015. Tozen made 2 starts and appeared in 4 other games with the team. He played in the NFL in 2017 with the Colts, and then spent time with Birmingham Iron of the Allegiance of American Football a year ago. So that's our first guy we got. And then we also have a then we got a offensive court. No. I'm sorry. Let me get this together. We brought somebody else in. The running back coach. What is his name? His name, y'all guys know his name. His name is oh, come on, y'all help me. What is his name? Yeah, but we got him in. I'll find his name here as well. But he's been the offensive line assistant coach, but he has moved to the running backs coach. So with this first guy, man, Scott. Now, personally, I'm having a problem with that, guys. Here we are. I'm thinking we was going to bring a quarterback coach in that was going to be a little bit more experienced, a little bit more older, that could teach Dak. But for some reason, I think Mike McCarthy has a lot of faith in this guy. I don't know. You know anything more about this guy, Scott?
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a problem, man. The trend is newer, younger, offensive-minded guys. So if he's an offensive-minded guy, young guy, you want somebody he's going to be directly in contact with Dak consistently, being being the quarterback coach. So you want somebody who's going to relate to him. I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing. And I know what you mean when you say you want the experience, but Dak has experience. Dak has been doing this for a minute, and it's like the thing that I really want is I just want to tweak. I just want a little shift, a little change in what he's looking at. Because honestly, it's working out exactly how we wanted it, right? It's scorched earth.
Yeah.
Every remnants of coaching from Jason Garrett on this team is completely gone. Now it's McCarthy. So let's get on that train. Let's get on with these guys that he's got. And if it's young, offensive-minded guys that he's bringing in, that's the trend. That's what's worked, and that's what's been successful. So I'll take it.
Yeah.
When it comes to what we were talking about just a second ago, when it comes to like what's going to happen in free agency and what's going to move first, honestly, I know Dak's going to be a part of it, just like what y'all were saying, but Zeke is going to be that first piece to go. I feel like that's what everybody's been talking about. When you're going to see what you're going to see happen first, you're going to see Zeke either restructure and end up on that vet minimum, or he's going to be gone. And I think the trend is going to be that he's going to be gone. I don't think that Zeke will be in a Cowboys uniform much longer.
Well, it's funny, Rue, that you said that, because our cheering squad had something to say, Mr. Dez Bryant, about Zeke. So Zeke said, I ain't got to tell me shit for me to know he was sacrificing his unhealed body to give the Cowboys the best chance to win games, playing whatever role, Bryant said on Twitter. But if you're going to talk about his game declining, make sure you talk about how badly injured he was. Make it make sense. Everybody will eventually take a step back, but nowhere near how they were trying to make Zeke look. What do you think about that, Mondo?
I mean,
you think he got something there?
There's some truth to that. We all know that. We all seen Zeke. But again, I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I played football, and I feel like you guys know, when you're in the game and you're into your team, it's always the player's choice. You want to go back in there. Zeke wanted to come back and play, but I mean, there is some truth. We ran Zeke, and we ran him hard. You guys seen him. I was I was on Twitter as well, and I saw him. there was old clips of him running, through Cam Chancellor. This man came out banging, and so it's wear and tear, man. It's wear and tear. We all know it's the body wears down eventually. We're a little bit older. Me, I'm
Yeah.
21, but I'm talking like G. G's probably like in his 50s, 60s. So
Hey, quit telling my age, man. Quit telling my age.
shout out my boy G, man. G looks like he's 30 something right now.
Hey, way to clean that up, buddy. Way to clean that
got
up. But yeah, so what do you think, Rue? What Dan's got a point there?
I mean, they're teammates, man. This is a loyalty thing. Like, I get it. And this is not, the thing is, I've been harping on this for a while. It was before last season that I've been saying, like, it's time to move on. We fall in love with these players, and it's like, I get it. Zeke gave us everything that he had. I'm not taking anything away from him, but this is business. And that's what the NFL is. It's a business. And it's like, you got to get out while you still can. And, bro, imagine if we could have got out early and got something back for him. How does every successful franchise play that? That's how they play it. They don't pay him when it's too late. And it's like, it's just one of those deals, man. It's like, I respect what Zeke is. I respect what he does. And it's like, but come on, man, $10 million for it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I got a quick question. What do you think that his camp saw at that running back combine or wherever they were at? What do you think they saw that they kind of like were like, yeah, I think it might be time to let go?
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what they were doing. They wanted to evaluate through the combine and the camp and all that things like that. And I'm sure they're still waiting for the combine to roll around as well. But yeah, that's how that's going to be their measuring stick. Depends on how many running backs are out there that might go pretty high or or fall to us. We can keep talking about Bijan Robinson is a possibility that he could come in. And if he does fall in our lap, more than likely, and then we're talking about even if we give Zeke $5 million, he agrees to $5 million, but we still got a franchise tag that we got to talk about with Tony Pollard, which that could be about $10 million. So we're talking about $15 million right there. So yeah, what do you think, Rue?
Part of me really hopes that somebody reaches out and wants Tony Pollard. Somebody, like, I really hope that, honestly. And listen, you can find running backs late in the draft. Tony Pollard was a 4th round pick. Tony Pollard was a 4th round. He was a 4th rounder.
We got him cheap.
You can find talent cheap in the draft. I hope somebody comes knocking on the door talking about, hey, I'll give you, a 2nd and a 3rd for Tony or whatever, a 3rd and a 4th, like whatever, and comes gets Tony Pollard from us, decides they want to pay him because it's a win-win for Tony. He gets paid, we get our picks, or we get some capital out of him, and I'll take that. I'll take that out of a guy I got in the 4th round because Tony's not going to last you a whole season. We saw that this year, and he wasn't even getting the whole load. So I hope somebody comes knocking on that door, like the Chiefs or the Bills or whoever needs a running back. Like, come grab you some of this Tony Pollard. And he's a talented player too. And I was harping for Tony Pollard to start before the season started. But now, after watching it and seeing what we got out of Tony, he's great. You can find it in the draft.
Buzz said he don't think no one wants an injured Pollard, but I don't know, man. It's a risk, but I think with the surgeons we have, man, I think we got one of the best surgeons in the country.
Yeah.
So I think he'll come back as good as new, but you are taking a risk.
Year is he in? I know he hasn't played, but how long is he? He's not some 2nd, 3rd year player. He's been around for a while.
True.
And I know what?
And I hadn't really given thought. Like Rue, I'm telling you, Rue got that. It's that beautiful mind working. That's. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that. If somebody comes knocking for Pollard and we get some capital, that's like Bruce said, that's a win-win right there. You can't beat it. We got some work out of Tony, but once again, I'll go back to Rue. We can't fall in love anymore because we fell in love with Zeke, and now it's kind of you're just you're stuck in this relationship where you're just like, come on, I love you, but it's time to
Yeah.
cut it. So we don't want to get there with Tony.
Hey, Chris, I put the link in the comments, so just hit the link in the comments because we're live. But and that while we're talking about quarterbacks, I found the name of the new running back coach. His name is Jeff Blasco. So he was originally the assistant offensive line coach, but now he is the running back coach. So it's possible that he could be that Jeff Blasco could be coaching up new running backs. I mean, we just don't know what Mike McCarthy has up his sleeve, and we need to talk about that, man. We need to talk about, before Mike McCarthy and his coaching staff can do anything, they're going to have to sit down and talk about, hey, what kind of scheme are we going to come up with? What do we, before they do anything, they got to get an identity of what they're planning on doing, how they're going to go about doing it, and who they're going to do it. Well, I just found out, and I looked it up, that as far as the 12 personnel and the 12 personnel, I believe it was, that he only used that like 12% of the time. I mean, so we might see the 13 personnel. So with that being said, what does that do with our tight ends? If he's going to run the 13 personnel, I mean, does he make his tight ends a receiver? Or, I mean, and like I said, I think he's only used it like 15% in his offense when he was coaching the offense. So that's another question. So we're right back at, before I think they do anything as far as free agencies and the draft and things like that, they're going to have to come up with a plan on how they plan on running this offense. So I think that's where they are right now, man. With the Dak situation and his contract, and also with the personnel Dak situation in his contract, and also with the personnel. Dak. Okay, yeah, Chris, I think you echoing, my man.
Sorry about that.
Now you good. Wait a minute, before we do anything, hold on, y'all. Before we do anything, y'all already know how we got to do this, man. When you got the big fella coming on, man, y'all know how we got to do this, man. We got to get it ready. Get it ready. Let's get it ready. Here we go. Let's get it ready because we got Big Chris in the house. Big Chris, what's going on? What you got? Hold on, we got to give you an introduction, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, where you at? Where you at? He tried to get set up. Chris tried to get set up. Well, damn, we lost him. But so anyway, guys, let's talk about this offense a little bit, man. Because like I just said, as far as with Mike McCarthy and him sitting down with his staff, what are we thinking? What are we thinking, Mondo? Where are we at with this offense, you think? Hold on.
Oh no. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Okay, you muted.
It's
you.
That's on me, fellas. I did y'all like the halftime commercial. Everybody thought
the Tubi. Oh man, that Tubi was crazy.
Shit, I tricked myself too. I was like, what's going on here? But
yeah,
you know what, fellas? I mean, we've been talking about it. This O-line, man. This O-line, we gotta reinforce it. That's also one move we really haven't talked about. And I think it might be one of the first domino effects is our left tackle. Our future Hall of Famer. I think we all know that. We gotta maybe cut ties there, or there's got to be some move made there. But this O-line, we gotta regenerate it, man. This is if we're gonna stick to that run game, and then we gotta protect Dak, obviously. So we gotta reinforce this O-line, man.
Yeah, and you're right about that, man. Because and we got to free up some money, man. We got. Rue, how do you feel about Tyron Smith, man?
About
Guys,
Tyron Smith?
hear y'all, man. I gotta do something.
We got you, bro. We can hear you.
I hear y'all like if I'm on the stream. I can hear y'all, but as soon as I get in the studio, I can't hear nothing y'all say. So I gotta fix it. I'll be back.
All right,
Okay.
all right, big
All
fella.
right. What do you think, Rue? About I mean, that's a major concern, man. What are we gonna do with Tyron Smith, man? I mean, we can save money, or we can,
So
you know,
they're going to end up restructuring Tyron, Zach Martin. They're going to restructure a few of them guys. So that's all. That's all going to just end up doing it the way it needs to be done. When it comes to the hire though, with Blasco, I'll tell you this: if I want anybody communicating with the O line, I mean, you basically have O line coach to O line coach working with your running back. You're gonna find the gap. I mean, if anybody's gonna be able to communicate, from the running back squad back to the linemen to get them on the same page, you got two people that very, very much understand how the O line works because they both coach that position, being able to talk to each other, and your running backs are going to find those holes that your O line is going to generate. When it comes to the O line, though, that's really what we need to focus on. I get the sexy play. I get it. Like if Bijan falls to 26 and it's this mystical pick.
yeah,
I get it, and I understand the attraction, and believe me, it's hard for me to look at that, especially as a Texas fan, and to say no. Like I said from the very beginning, you can find running backs deep in these drafts, and if you
right.
get the right O lineman, because these O linemen are getting old, man. We were shuffling O linemen all throughout the season. O linemen were coming in and out of all throughout the season, especially when Terrence Steele went down. When Terrence Steele went down, it was huge for us because it was like, man, you got to switch Tyron from left to right. You bumping out Tyler to the outside. McGovern's playing that guard spot, but it's like, okay. If you can find that guy in the first round at tackle, or maybe even the right guard, you're shoring up that O-line means more in that first round than anything else you can get because it elevates every other.
It does.
If
It
you
does.
in the trenches, if you shore up that spot on both sides of the ball, you can dominate with average play at other places because you're going to have that extra time. There's going to be extra space. There's going to be more gaps for the running backs. It's a win-win all the way around. I get it. Bijan is sexy. Like it is. That's a sexy pick. It is.
It is.
He's special. And whoever gets him is going to be really, really lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the first round. Not for me.
Yeah.
And real quick, it's been the last 2 seasons that we're just shuffling the O line. These past it's been the last 2 seasons we've been doing this.
It really has.
Yeah.
Well, and Mike, we're talking about that front line, man. It's also been reported as far as a free agent that's out there for offensive lineman. Justin McCray is one that is out there. Played with the Houston Texans. They're saying that basically they could probably bring him in as a free agent if we do not draft a O lineman in the first round or nowhere. Maybe not even the second round, but they're saying that he could probably take up probably about 13 million. We can probably give him about 13 million, but this is just one of the options that we have out there as far as when we're talking about this front line. But I agree with you as well, Rue. I mean, the front line it makes the offense go, and like you say, having Joe Blasco tie in with the linemen and the running back, because if we're talking about West Coast offense, everything's about timing, everything's about scheme. So you can't be late, you can't be slow pulling or whatever to that nature. But Jeff Blasco would definitely help us in that area. All right, we got my man back again.
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
We can hear you, bro.
I can hear y'all.
Did you change it up?
Man, I'm just doing it from my phone. I don't know what's up with the computer, so I just
hit it sideways so we get that other view from you.
Oh, hold on. I didn't know we can change this. Hold on, let's see. Bam!
Bam!
Oh,
Man,
yeah. So Chris,
y'all done talked to big fellas some things today, man. I sure appreciate y'all looking out for me. Sure appreciate y'all looking out for the big fella.
And you know what? My bad, G. I should have been talking about old folks. I should have been talking about.
Hey, I'm quite old.
There's new technology stuff, but yeah, hey, I get you, Chris. I mean, trying to set up and get ready to go live and thing. People don't know what goes on behind the scenes, man. It's like,
bro,
your Wi-Fi acting up.
It's funny before I get into the studio, I hear everything perfectly. Hear everything. As soon as y'all click me in, everything just goes silent. And I was just like, what is going on? I don't understand. But hey, the big fella's here, man. I'm glad to be here. It's What's Up Wednesday. Pardon my lateness, man. I'm so sorry. So sorry.
It happens, man.
Hey,
It happens.
but always great. The big fella.
Yeah.
The big
Better
fella's
late
here.
than never, brother. Better late than never. So, Chris, what we're talking right about now is talking about the offense, because we know that that's the main concern. We also talked about how we was wondering if Mike McCarthy is actually sitting down with his staff and trying to figure out what scheme or how they're going to go about with this offense. But we also was talking about the offensive line and with Tyron Smith. What are we going to try to save money and cut Tyron? Or are we going to try to restructure and try to keep Tyron? What are your thoughts on that?
Why do y'all start talking about my favorite subject before the big fella come in?
Well, we didn't start there. You're a little late, but okay.
It's always
this is your topic, so we just got a little head start because we know you're about to catch up.
It's a little bit, man. I thought we should have cut Tyron last year. Okay, we talked about it all season. I really didn't think they was going to bring him back, man. But the Cowboys they got this faith in Tyron that he's going to play all 16. But I'm sure Rue got stats on this. I don't even remember the last time Tyron did play all 16, for the Cowboys. Okay, and when you can't play all 16 as your starting left tackle, man, it's something that we need to depend on. I think it's time to move on. We talked about it last week about the Cowboys falling in love with veteran players and won't let them go. Okay, it's time to make some executive decisions. Okay, other than if we're gonna sign Pepsi this year or Nike's gonna be our sponsors, we need to make sure we have some executive decisions about our player acquisition and who we're gonna keep on the damn field. So number one, I love Tyron. I think Tyron is a Hall of Fame player, but I think it's time. Tyron is not on the same level as Lane Johnson up in Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? A veteran player still playing at top level. Or the guy, I keep forgetting his name, man, that played for the Rams when they won the Super Bowl, who just retired. That's been on Amazon, okay?
Yeah.
He's not at that level anymore, okay? His body just won't keep up with him. Okay.
Right.
So since his body can't keep up, the Cowboys have to sometimes, man, when you don't want to put your dog down, but it's time. Cowboys, you gotta put him down.
Yeah. So it's Buzz said it was 2015 the last time he actually started all 16 games. Damn.
And it's 2023. That's a long time.
That's a long
time. And that's probably a left tackle is a top 3 position. Okay, it's quarterback, it's the cover safety and left tackle. You gotta have studs there, bro. You gotta have studs in the NFL. Yeah. He ain't the stud right now.
And we got a new guy that's holding down that position as well. So why we even going forward? And like I said, I take nothing from Tyron. Tyron was a beast. He was a beast. And this is where we are along when we talk about Tyron, we talk about Zeke. So we got 2 players that we really have to figure out what they're going to do with these 2 guys. It's
G cutting out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There you go.
It's getting better. Here it comes. No.
Everybody having these technical difficulties today.
I'm saying, one of those technical days. Storm must be brewing.
Wow. Is that not crazy or what? Hey, we're going to keep pushing, though, man. They tried. Hey, they don't want the Cowboy huddle on tonight. I think he must be an Eagle fan that's outside.
Probably he's messing with our Wi-Fi or something.
Sabotaging us. Yeah, man. Where's Birdman? We need to find Birdman and Sneaky G.
Say, Birdman don't want no trouble right now, man.
Nah, he's been very, very quiet.
Still in recovery. Hey,
yeah, he's still recovering. Somebody needs to check on him, man. He probably sitting in the house with the curtains closed and it's dark.
All I know is they've been clinching that San Francisco belt real tight. Like
Oh my
that's like the
God.
last win, so they're just holding on. Like,
Hey man,
holding
I
on
guess
to that one.
that's the most current trophy they got. So
Yeah. So now, along with that offense, now I think this is a great one. Rue, with me, you and I was talking about this. We was talking about this receiver position. Everybody's talking about we need a receiver at 26. We need a receiver. Don't do nothing else. We need a receiver. And I don't know. What do you think, Chris? At 26, we need a receiver.
you asking the wrong person, bro. You know what Chris gonna draft every time. You know what Chris. You asking the wrong person.
I think we went through this last season with the draft.
Man, just go back to everything I said last season. Repeat it this year. Repeat
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Repeat
yeah.
that. Oh, well, gee, this is why I say it. I mean, honestly, I'm not just trying to do it because I'm in love with the 300-pound club. That's not why I'm saying it. When the Cowboys' offensive line was dominant, my God, it wasn't nothing the offense couldn't do. Okay.
True.
So, and then we didn't have a defense to support us. Okay. So, since our offensive line isn't dominant at this time, our offense struggled at points. Okay. So,
Yeah.
that's why I say, man, when we had Travis Frederick in the middle, when you got a young Tyron and when you got a young Zach Martin, okay, they covered up for deficiency even when we had Mr. Looney at guard. I love Looney at guard. And,
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
when we had these players, man, they had a cohesiveness and they worked together and all of them stayed healthy. So the reason I want to get younger at these positions, man, is because the longevity and the younger offensive linemen stay healthy. The older you get, man, that's when you susceptible to injuries.
Right. So, Rue, you had mentioned something about the receivers. Let's get to somebody because we know this. He's a little biased. The
I
big
am.
fella. He's
I am.
biased.
I am.
So, I mean, for me, it's not coming in the draft because I'm with the big fella in terms of what I'm doing with the 26th pick. I'm trying to find me another Tyler Smith. That's what I'm doing in the first round. But when it comes to the receivers, obviously, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I definitely want one, but I feel like it's coming in free agency.
Right.
And there's been a lot of names tossed around. One of them in particular that's not as flashy as the rest has kind of stuck out to me is Jarvis Landry. I feel like Jarvis Landry would be a nice little addition to the squad. And I mean, I don't need a one, right? Because I mean, you can go out there. I mean, Mike Evans looks like he could be available. You got DeAndre Hopkins, which would be really, really nice. I'm not gonna lie. If we had D-Hop on this squad, I know I'd be happy. I don't understand why they keep wanting to move this man. It really doesn't make sense to me. There's got to be something else there, maybe, because when you have a talent like that, I can't imagine that he's done. Like, I know he got hurt last year, and he's coming off that year where he got suspended last year also. So it was just one of those deals where it's like, I don't know what else is going on with him, but man, I feel like there's just too much talent there to ignore. Yeah, and I mean, there's others because you have other receivers that are available either through trade or through free agency that we could be looking at. And that's where I think you're really going to get your best option when it comes to receiver. It's not going to come with the 26th pick. Those guys are going to go early. What's that?
Can I piggyback real quick? The only thing about, the names that you mentioned, none of those people can take the top off. Okay, I'm looking for somebody dynamic. Okay, that can get downfield because I think CD 20 and under, man, CD is deadly. Okay, Michael Gallup is deadly, 20 and under. I don't want another possession receiver. I want somebody that somebody like, oh, we got to back up. We better back up. Okay, Cowboys, we had a Turpin, but they didn't put him on the field. I don't know why. Okay, they didn't put the people, and you saw when Ty got out there, people backed up. Okay.
Yeah.
But if we don't have nobody to make people back up, man, that's how they stop the run. They stop everything. So that's just my opinion. Now, I love every name that you mentioned, Rue. I love them, but they don't take the top off no more.
Now, Jarvis can, and so can D-Hop, man. D-Hop can catch some dynamic balls downfield. Like, I know he might not be like what he was back then, but D-Hop still has a lot left. I have a hard time thinking that he doesn't have nothing left because he can get downfield on you, and he can be. I mean, he's arguably top 5 receiver in the league. I haven't seen him in long enough to say that he is right now, But throughout the time that he was playing, he was always one of those guys that was like, man, he's that guy. Yeah. So when it comes to that, like I have to see what he's got left. That I'm cautious with D-Hop just because I feel like I haven't seen him in so long. And but I tell you this, in the latter part of the season, it's not like he had some bad games. He had good games heading out with Kyler Murray and the shambles that the Cardinals were in.
Yeah.
I mean, But it's really, man, my concern is that O-line, because the more and more I think about it, we have pieces, right? But Terrence Steele with this ACL is huge because we don't know when he's coming back. We don't know because it was in the latter part of the year. That's a year-long injury. So is he going to be ready week 1? I mean, maybe. But that he was so good at that right tackle spot, to lose him is huge. So that's a huge void you have to fill. Your center position, I feel like with Biotic, he's really done very well. I think that Biotic has really come into his own and taken care of that center position. Yep. And Tyler, with as talented as he's been, you can put him at the guard or the tackle spot, depending on who you have. Obviously, with the moves they made with Peters and stuff, like who knows if Peters will be back? I doubt it. I mean,
I doubt it.
Doubtful. But I mean, the O-line needs to be shored up. Like it's in a state where it's like, man, I hope we get Terrence back in time, because I doubt he'll be back week 1. Yeah. Probably not through week 3, 4, 5, maybe. I mean, there's a good chance you're not going to see him. So the O-line is really my main concern with where we're at. Right. We have receivers that we've drafted that are young that might come into their own. You never know. Like we haven't seen them. They got hurt last year. Simi Fioco got hurt. Jalen Tolbert got hurt. They kept these guys for a reason. So, and they drafted them into a position that they drafted them in to see what they can do. So I want to see something happen through free agency at the receiver spot, because I think that's where you're going to get the most value. But I haven't given up faith in the young guys where we have. They should be focusing everything on that offensive line, in my opinion. That's really where the key concern is for me.
Right. So Mondo, so do you go spend money to get you a number 2 receiver, or do you get the number 2 receiver in the draft?
Oh no, I think the draft is, we got to focus on, like I said, reinforcing this O-line, and we got to spend that money. We got to spend that money. We all know the big name that's been out there since before, our last playoff game, was OBJ. That's that big name attached to us. And then we can't forget, whether it's clickbait or not, Trayvon Diggs is making a push for his brother. This guy, we don't know if it can happen. But he's, it's his brother making a push. So there's big names attached to the Cowboys, but I honestly think that we got to go spend that money. It's time we got to spend that money to get that. Yeah. Like you said, like that number 2. We need a solid number 2, and I agree with Chris. We need a young version of what was this receiver we just got, the veteran.
Ty.
Yeah, we need a young Ty that they can be scared, because he's gonna be that deep threat. So maybe Tolbert will be that guy.
Well, and see, that's the thing. This is what all these outsiders, these morning shows, these afternoon shows, and evening shows, thinking they know what the Cowboys need. They don't. Listen, if y'all are listening to those folks, y'all listen to the wrong sports channel. You need to be watching the Cowboy Hut, because these are the guys that knows about the Dallas Cowboys and what they're saying. They need a number 2 receiver at 26. But let me remind you guys that we do have a number 2 receiver, and we signed him to a 5-year contract for $57 million with $27 million guaranteed. And
I can tell you his name. I can tell you his name.
What's his name?
Michael Gallup.
Yes. So why are we talking about getting a number 2? You're not going to get a number 2 in the draft, because we just paid. Which personally, I say we should have let him walk, and we could have got a better receiver. But we're not getting a number 2, because Michael Gallup is going to be our number 2. And to be in the fairness with Michael Gallup, we do have to give him a fair chance to redeem himself. He did come off an ACL tear. We know that Kellen Moore play schemes was garbage when it came to running routes, all these deep hooks and deep outs and things like that. So, again, we have to see what he does under Mike McCarthy in this offense. I'm sure we'll see a lot more slants, a lot more screens, a lot more quick passes and things like that. But for these other stations and all these other morning shows to say we need a receiver at 26, it's not going to happen. We got a number 2 receiver, and it's going to be Michael Gallup. And we're not even talking about Jalen Tolbert. Jalen Tolbert is probably one. We got to give him a fair chance. We got to see if he can catch the playbook. We don't know. We got Simi Fehoko. So we're talking about all these receivers. Are we willing to give up something to bring these receivers in, like a DeAndre Hopkins or Robert Woods, things like that? Are we willing to pay that kind of money when we have our number 2? We
Yeah.
got to be kind of frugal with the money, but we got to spend the money right.
I got
Personally,
a
this is
question.
what I
I got
think.
a question for you, Gary.
Yes, sir.
In your mind, do you think Michael Gallup was healthy last year?
It's hard to tell, man. It's hard to say. And the reason I say it because Dak wasn't playing his one. He wasn't playing 100%. He was making a lot of mistakes. The play call. I think he was still injured. I think that happened. And one thing about an ACL tear, man, you have to learn how to trust that knee. And surgeons, and surgeons will tell you that knee is a lot stronger than your original knee. But it's all about a trust factor with the players. So that's why I say we have to give him a fair chance to redeem himself. So, but again, what we're talking about finding a solid number 2, it's not going to happen. Let's see what KT can do. Let's see what Cavante Turpin can do. Can he play that slot? Is he? I mean, again, we go back to Mike McCarthy. What is his offense going to look like? So that's where we are. And I really don't think any action will be taking place until we see what happens with Dak. That's just what I look at that. That's just my opinion on that. What do you think? What do you think, Armando?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we gotta wait for these first moves, man. We gotta, like I think Ruth said, we gotta wait for these first dominoes to fall. But once we figure that out, we don't need that. We don't need a draft the receiver. I honestly feel, man, I think Jerry's gonna pull the trigger on this OBJ, man. I think they've been talking about it so long. I feel like he's gonna pull the trigger just to make that Deion Sanders move, that splash.
Okay, so here's a question: if you had to choose between the two, would you take Stephon Diggs or would you take OBJ?
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs all day. Stephon Diggs all day.
That's a no. Okay, let's do this. Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins.
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs, yeah. I think if any player you put against Diggs, I'm gonna take Diggs because this dude, he has
there's not a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people you're taking over Diggs.
Yeah, for sure. And now here's another name that they're putting in the mix because it's a possibility because we know Tampa Bay is not going to do much or nothing. There's a couple of things that's going on in Tampa Bay. Number one, they're talking about it's a possibility that Mike Evans might be on the block of going to another team, which he's probably worth about $13 million. So
go get him.
Do we want to give up $13 million for Mike Evans?
Okay.
So it is a possibility. It could happen.
And the reason I say that, Gary, remember we was talking about last week about Jerry Jones used to be that man to go get the pieces we need. Okay, if Mike Evans is available, go get him.
Get him.
Yeah,
go get him.
He can stretch the field.
Go get him.
Yeah, for 13. Yeah, we can get him.
He's a touchdown magnet. Mike Evans is a touchdown magnet. Go look up Mike Evans touchdowns over the last 5-10 seasons or however long. I'm telling you, he's in double digits every year.
Bro.
He is a magnet in the end zone.
Root, I agree. I'm like this.
Come on, Cowboy beat.
So if Stephon Diggs and if Mike Evans are available, I don't care which one you get, go get them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying anything to help number 4 out. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think number 4 can deliver. I know a lot of us don't agree about it, but if you give him the weapons that he did have, or even better weapons, let's go get him, man. Let's help him out.
Honestly, yeah. That's why in my head it's so crucial. If we can find a trade partner for Tony Pollard, I would do that in a heartbeat. If I could figure out a way to get some capital to move on from Tony Pollard get paid, and we get capital, we win all the way around.
That's
We
a
get a
damn
guy
good.
that we
That's a
drafted
yeah.
in the 4th round. We get some capital. We can rebuild the O-line. We can get some pieces. We can use that leverage to go get a guy like Mike Evans or like Stephon Diggs. You need capital in order to be able to make this work. We don't have a lot.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot.
True.
One of the few things we do have is Tony Pollard.
Yeah,
And
that's a
man,
trade bait right there.
it's perfect. And there are teams that need running backs. There's
Well,
teams that need running backs.
and you say that, Rue, but guess what? Not only that, guess who's the running back coach in Tampa Bay? Skip Pete. Is
Oh,
that his
Pete.
name? Yeah,
Pete's
Pete
there.
is down there. So they're already talking about that it's a possibility that Zeke, if we do release Zeke might end up in Tampa Bay. But now, if you talk about it, if Pete is talking to the coach over there, he said, "Hey man, we might can make a trade for Tony, bring over here and send Mike Evans to the Cowboys." I'd go for that in a minute. I agree with you guys. Yeah.
Hey, you know how they always say when your player is available on the draft board and then nobody take him, don't you sprint to the podium? I'm sprinting to the phone if Tampa Bay ever say that. Tampa, man, what do you need? Like on Tropic Thunder, do I need to trade you my washer and dryer too? You can have that too.
Yeah.
Bring him.
Yeah.
I want him.
Yeah.
Bring him.
Yeah, Mondo, that could be the first domino to drop. That could be the first domino to drop where you see this trade between Pollard and see, guys, this is what the Cowboy Huddle deals with. Nobody else is talking about this. Yeah. We're talking about this. This is great. That's a great trade. You send Tony Pollard and bring Mike.
Everybody's talking about putting him on the tag.
Yeah.
Why? Why do I need to pay a $10.5 million running back? Let me trade him. And it's not enough. I'm not hating. Like, it's not. I love TP. I was cheering for TP all year. Bye. Go get paid, sir. Go get paid. Go get your millions.
I love
Go get your millions. He'll be happy as hell too, believe me. Because we're not gonna pay him.
Yeah.
We're not gonna pay him.
Rue believe in his analytics. I'm telling you, okay?
No, that's true.
Well, no, I know it's true. I'm just saying. I mean, his analytic mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With running back position and everything. The only way I would play running backs now if he's a reincarnation of Adrian Peterson. Other than that.
Oh my gosh! Stop.
Other than that, yeah, it has been proven that you can win without the first and second round running backs.
Yeah. Put it, Nico, what Buzz said. Put that up, man. Buzz said. It's a different ball game, guys.
It's a different ball game. You're right about that. Yeah, that voice started going up. Yes, he's into that conversation, that statement. But here's a statement right here by Benjamin. Benjamin said Mike Evans is on the backside of his career, and you won't get much for a running back when there's a ton of them out there in free. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Benjamin, but at the same time, man, that's like an even trade, basically. Yeah. I would give Mike Evans $13 million for the $10 million.
Well, I disagree with on the backside of the career. Did y'all not see that man play last year?
Yeah, man.
Did you not see Mike Evans play last year? I think his quarterback was on the backside of his career. They didn't have no offensive lineman. I said, but Mike Evans was definitely not on the backside of his career. I think he's still a top 5. Well, no, I won't say top 5. I say top 8 receiver.
Top 10.
Top 10, definitely. Top 10 receiver.
And he's a big body, man. He's a big body.
6'6",
Yeah. So, man, I agree. I agree with that, man. That would be great to switch those out because now it was told that they were saying that Zeke could probably end up going to Tampa Bay. But if Tony Pollard is put in the conversation, it's a no-brainer. That is a no-brainer. And what is this? Buzz say Evans is entering his night. Yeah, he's in his prime.
Is a different position. This is not the 90s receiver position where these guys were getting leveled going across the middle of the field. This is not the same. It's not like you can sit here and tell me that Mike Evans didn't play ball games last year. It's not like, I mean, just looking at Mike Evans' stats the last few seasons, and let's not forget he's got some people around him, especially in the last few years, because there was Gronk there, who was a heavy target for Tom Brady. You still had Chris Godwin, and they had some players on that team. If you look at his stats just this past year, in a bad year, 1,124 yards, 6 touchdowns. I'll take that. The year before that, he had 1035, 14 touchdowns. The year before that, 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And he's done nothing but pick up steam, because like years before that, he had 8, 5, 12, and this is with like Jameis Winston as your quarterback and whoever the hell else they had playing quarterback over there. So listen, it's year 9, but it's a different position. These guys can play longer. They take care of their bodies different. And Mike Evans is a professional. Mike Evans is not just some, fly-by-night veteran. He is a professional.
Yeah, Buzz said Evans hasn't missed more than 2 games in a year in all 8 years. So, the guy's taking care of his body.
He's an Iron Man.
Yeah, he's taking care of his body. So, yeah, I mean, again, the Tampa Bay Dallas connection could be something great, as far as the two teams.
I'm going to tell you this. I don't think any team in their right mind is trading a receiver for a running back. That's one thing. But when it comes to what he's talking about, Tony Pollard, there's a market for. Because you can't tell me that teams that would love his style of play, like imagine him under Andy Reid with the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they just lost Bieniemy in terms of what they're looking. And I know they got Pacheco and stuff like that, and he might be coming along, but they're not the only example. Imagine him with the Bills.
Yep.
I mean, there's different teams that he could be with that need these running back positions. That, I mean, somebody will bite. I mean, bro, we've seen trades where David Johnson was traded for D-Hop.
Oh my gosh!
Like,
but that was we know how that was terrible.
Why would you do that? But hey, that stuff happens.
Somebody was smoking crack.
Yeah, but it can happen. And if you can leverage the right team at the right moment, I mean, just who knows? There might be a market for Tony Pollard. Maybe somebody wants him. I'll tell you this: it'd be better if he didn't break his ankle at the end of the year. I mean, it would have been better for all of us if he didn't break his ankle at the end of the year, because that San Francisco game changed completely when he broke his ankle. But we don't have to talk about that.
So let me ask you this, Rue. So would you be willing, because I think it was you that just mentioned that no one trades a running back for a receiver. So if that's the case, would you be willing to give up Pollard and maybe a pick or send someone else, or how would you be willing?
Depends on what it is. I mean, it's always about, we're speaking in hypotheticals, really, because it doesn't really, what am I getting for, if it's TP and a 3rd round pick for Mike? Like, am I really going to be that mad? No, I'm really not. I'm not going to be mad. 2nd round pick? No, I'm not going to be mad. If they do something like, I mean, think about what we gave up, what we got for Cooper. Think about that for a second. Like, we got a 5th round pick for Cooper. These things happen. Like, you can finesse somebody in this league. Like, things can happen. I don't know the Tampa Bay owner particularly, but I mean, he had Jameis Winston as his starting quarterback for a really long time. I don't think he's that bright.
Rue, I just got out of canceling for a whole year about the damn Mari Cooper trade, and then you're going to bring it back up. Okay?
I know that hurt.
I just got out of canceling a whole year, and I said I was not going to relive that. I moved on in my life, okay?
I know it was hard. It was hard.
Bring it back up. Crazy trades don't happen, man. I just have to remind them that they happen all the time. These outlandish trades that nobody in their right mind would ever make happen, but they do happen. There's proof.
Now I got Amari Cooper PTSD. Okay?
Yeah, I know it.
Every time somebody brings it up, I get.
You better be a hell of a 5th rounder. That better be the best 5th rounder ever.
Hey, this 5th rounder this year better hit, and it better hit hard.
It better hit hard. You better.
We don't know who that 5th rounder is.
That's really the pick we all. That's really the pick we all waiting for.
Yeah. Hey, go ahead, Chris.
You never seen a 5th round pick have so much pressure on him in his life.
We gave up TP for this.
Yes.
Hey, so guys, got somebody in the studio, man. We're gonna bring him on, and this guy has great content. I'm just so elated that he wanted to come on with us because he's another Cowboy fan. Keep telling y'all, quit listening to all that other stuff. They don't know nothing about Cowboys. And there's one guy here I'm bringing on. This guy's gonna we all gonna probably be silenced for a while, and then he's got great content as well. And it's our guy, Cowboy B.
Chris,
What's going
what's
on,
up,
guys?
baby? What's up, Chris? What's up, Chris?
How you feeling, my man? How's everything going?
Oh, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling even better after that introduction. That meant a lot. Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. And anytime you guys want me on, I am more than game to come on.
Hey, G, real quick, man. Me and Chris have a conversation with about 3 or 4 times a week, man, talking about our Cowboys. You know, hey, sometimes we're both each other respites when we get a little excited about our boys. We'll call each other, talk football.
Facts. So, say, Chris, it's good to have you on with us tonight, man. And like I said, you're more than welcome to come on anytime because, like I say, all that outside media stuff, they don't know anything about our Cowboys. So we're going to give you the floor, man, and we're going to want to hear what you got on your mind and educate us on what's going on.
Okay, so a few moves that the Cowboys are probably going to make in the upcoming weeks here. One move, cutting Tyron Smith. I don't know. Are you guys on board with offloading Tyron Smith here? I know the sentimental reasons as to why people don't want to cut ties with Tyron Smith, but you're going to save $9 million if you do that. At that point, you're now $2 million over the cap. Okay. So another move you're going to make. So one thing that they put into Zach Martin's contract is they have a void year. And if they restructure, they don't even have to. I mean, obviously they're going to notify him, but they don't have to negotiate with Zach Martin whatsoever. Right. They flip a switch, you get $9 million. You now have $11 million at your disposal. You do that new deal with Dak Prescott, you're probably going to now at that point have about $43 million at your disposal.
Yes, sir.
At that point,
just real quick, do you extend or restructure with Dak?
You extend them because, and here's the reason why. Okay. I saw Nick Foles win a Super Bowl. If Nick Foles can win a Super Bowl, Dak Prescott can win a Super Bowl if you surround him with the adequate amount of talent. But let's be honest here, right? There are better quarterbacks in the league than Dak Prescott, and they're actually surrounded by talent. Joe Burrow is a better quarterback. He's surrounded by talent. The list is short. I mean, Josh Allen, surrounded by some talent. Patrick Mahomes.
Matthew Stafford was surrounded by talent,
Exactly. 100%. So you're going to keep Dak Prescott for, as long as you can keep him. If that cap hit is low, why not keep him? He is at the very least, if you're not as high on Dak Prescott as, let's just say, somebody like me or Chris is, or, I assume pretty much everybody in here thinks that Dak Prescott's a good quarterback. So you can win a Super Bowl with a good quarterback. But you got to surround him with I think more options. I don't think you need to go out and get a DeAndre Hopkins. I've been talking about this, right? You go out and get a DeAndre Hopkins, that's going to be $25 million.
Yes.
You're going to end up paying CeeDee Lamb probably around $23 million. So by this time next season, you could be paying 2 wide receivers a combined $48 million. That's irresponsible. You're going to have an imbalanced roster at that point, or an unbalanced roster at that point. So to me, instead of going out and trading for a DeAndre Hopkins, who you're going to have to give up draft capital for anyway, why not just Adam Thielen? He's going to be a cap casualty. Why not pick him up? Paris Campbell from the Colts, he's going to be a guy that's on the free agency market. Go pick him up. Odell Beckham Jr. probably cost you about $8 million a year. Go pick him up. At that point, you're probably going to pay Odell $8 million. You're probably going to pay Adam Thielen $5 million. You're probably going to pay Paris Campbell $3 million. So right there, that's about $16 million that you just spent towards the receiver position.
Do you think that D-Hop's still bringing 23 though? Do you still think D-Hop's bringing 23 million?
I mean, that's just how his contract's set up, though. That's
that's his contract. Yeah.
So like the way I look at it, I would rather have, because you already have a guy. CeeDee Lamb's already a guy. This isn't going out and trying to get it. No, you already have that guy here. So just go get a bunch of weapons. So if, let's just say, one of those guys get injured, well, you still have 2 more guys that, are ready to go. If DeAndre Hopkins gets injured, you're screwed. So it's not like this team is in need for a number one receiver. It's the same thing. It's the same problem I have with the cornerback position, right? You have a number one cornerback. You don't need to go out and trade for Jalen Ramsey. You don't need to sign a big money cornerback because you already have that there. You go out and trade for Jalen Ramsey. Now you're talking about what, $27 million on top of Diggs, who's probably going to get paid $24 million. You're going to pay $51 million for, a position group for two guys who play the same position. It's not a responsible way to spend your money. I would rather go out there and get a defensive tackle. I know Deron Payne might be getting franchise tagged by Washington, but if he's available, you got to go get him. You absolutely 100% no excuses whatsoever. If he's available, you got to go get him, because if you got a guy like that on your defensive line, along with the other pieces that you have on your defensive line, you're going to elevate your entire defense.
Real quick, before you keep going. You were talking about earlier to cut Tyron, and I understand why, and I don't necessarily disagree with you. The only reason I kind of disagree with you, and it's not a nostalgia thing, for me, where's Terrence Steele at? Because if Terrence is gone,
he's restricted. He's restricted.
He's coming off ACL. So,
you're right.
And so when is he going to come back? The depth on the O-line position, I feel like they're probably more leaning towards the restructure than to cut him. Or you tell me.
You see the big smile that's on my face? I have been preaching this for weeks now, ever since the offseason started. Draft a damn offensive lineman. I've been preaching this. I don't know if you guys have. I want you guys after the show to check my comment sections where I'm talking about drafting an offensive lineman. It's ridiculous.
We all agree with you.
Here's the thing, right? You can go and trade or sign a wide receiver. You can go and trade and sign for a cornerback. The offensive line position is so depleted in the NFL. If you there's Shaq Mason, who's going to be a cap casualty from Tampa Bay. If you can get him, I'm all for it. And then maybe fine, go draft another position. But this is a need on this line right now. And okay, if Terrence Steele is not available for week 1, it's definitely a problem. But if you have a line full of really good players, and you're missing one of your really good players, but you have a solid backup in there, then I'm fine with that. You know what I'm saying? I heard somebody say Jason Peters play right tackle. I don't know. I'm not going to give him any clout on here, but I'm sure some of you guys have heard a certain individual say that Jason Peters is going to play right tackle. Bad option. If they're going to restructure Tyron, I think that's fine because he's a swing tackle type of guy. But I need to be, if I'm the general manager, I'm going to want to have that cap money to spend.
Yeah, but you know what? Chris, and I say the same thing. It's all about, we have to generate some revenue, and I totally agree. And with that being said, you have to get away from those things that's basically that's anchoring you down, like Zeke, like Tyron Smith, things like that. We have to free up this money, and like you're saying, with the extension of Dak's contract, again, I agree. That creates 43. We're gonna just say $43 million. Anywhere in that range is a lot of money to bring in players. With that, you can go get another lineman if you have to. As far as a free agent, along with the draft, so you beef up your line, because I really true, and I agree with you, Chris. Our offensive line, if you look at the depth chart, dude, it's a lot of slash. You got a lot of guys. You like Connor McGovern. He's playing guard/center. Then you got this other guy. So all these guys are playing two positions. We need to fill up the depth chart on our offensive line, and I totally agree with you.
Can I say something, Gary?
Yeah.
For everybody who's watching, offensive line is never a sexy pick. Unlike what my wife said, that she said I was sexy. Thank you. Appreciate that, baby. Anyway, I got her conditioned to think that 300-pounders are sexy. You have to. It's called 300 pounds of thrust. Anyway,
whoa,
they're not.
Whoa, hey,
we're not the sexy pick because you don't notice us on every
No,
play,
no.
but it's a necessity for your
Yes.
football team to be a winning franchise. Okay. And it starts with the offensive line. Jalen Hurts improved because of one thing this year. The offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles protected him.
Right.
Okay.
One of the best I've seen in my life.
So
that O-line was exceptional.
So when you have exceptional offensive lines, things happen for your offense in a positive direction.
Facts.
I know, we won't. I see people talking about a Jigba from Ohio State, trash state.
Love
But
him.
anyway, I hear people talking about Bijan. Excuse me, Rue, but I love him. But no, you really have to. You have to ensure your offensive line for the security of your number one player on your team, and that's number 4.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
and you want to know what? Here's the thing. The Cowboys, their offensive line's fine. It's pretty good. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. You win in the trenches. If you have a pretty good offensive line and you're going up against a dominant defensive line, guess what? That dominant defensive line is going to beat you up.
Gonna beat you. Yeah, beat your head in.
You want to know one thing that I would love to have? I would love to have an offensive line where we're so good, where we look at San Francisco and say, we ain't afraid of running the ball on them. Number one run defense, we don't care. We got the best offensive line in football. We can run on anybody.
Yeah.
That's what I want. That's how you win football games. You want consistency with this football team, just with any football team in general. You want to know what's consistent? The bigger, badder, stronger motherfucker who's more technically sound beating the hell out of the guy across from him. That's more consistent, and it works on both sides of the line of scrimmage. So when you have a liability on your offensive line, you want to know it's consistent. The guy on the defensive line beating the dog shit out of the guy across from him.
Chris, hey, I'm ready to go play some ball now. Let's go play some ball. Hey, we got
Blue 18.
Hey, we got 21 Armando at tailback. We got Rue at wide receiver. We got G at quarterback. And then we got Chris at
Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey,
I'm just here enjoying Chris talk. I'm just,
Yeah, but that's what and that's what here's what Buzz said, and it makes a lot of sense. He says, the line is like the tires on your car. You don't worry about it until you have a flat, but they move you where you want to be. Wow, that's great.
And listen to this, all right? Last year, the Eagles were building this super team or whatever you want to call it this year, okay? What did they do in the second round last year? They drafted Jason Kelsey's replacement. So if Jason Kelsey retires this year, guess what? They have this kid ready to go in and play. They don't have to draft the center. They don't have to draft the center this year. Why? Because they drafted one last year and they were ahead of the ball. I hate complimenting that football team, but guess what? Their front office did a really good job of building their football team, and I admire it. And I hope that this, I wish that this front office would be out in front of things. Like, a guy that you shared on your TikTok today, John Michael Schmitz. Love the guy. Love him. Monster. Beast. If the Cowboys were to draft him at 26, I'd be excited. But you want to know what? I think if you wanted to go get a John Michael Schmitz, trade back in the draft. Trade back, get in the second round. You can draft him in the second round. Go get more picks. Go get more picks, because that's what if you want to draft this guy at 26, you're gonna be able to. I still think you're gonna be able to draft him probably at like 34, 35. You can get into the second round. And not only that, when you're drafting at 26, why I would love for them to pick up a guy like John Michael Schmitz or Steve Avila, even if they're not technically projected to go in that round. Guess what? At that pick, you're pretty much wiped out of first round grades anyway, because you only have the 16 first round grades as it is.
Was Tyler Smith?
Great. Yeah, Tyler Smith was a first round. They had a first round grade on him last year, but that's usually kind of not how things really go. The Cowboys he fell in our lap again. He really did. So I mean, that's the way I look at it. I draft a John Michael Schmitz at 26. I draft a Steve Avila at 26. I would draft an Osiris Torrance at 26. So I think
Yes, Osiris is another one. Oh, great.
You want to, if you watch the film of Osiris, he might not be the best offensive lineman in the country if you just watch the film of right now. But you want to know what the Cowboys are going to do? Okay, Osiris, we're going to draft you. You're going to lose weight. We're going to get you better with your feet. And we're going to help you use your strength. And, you have this strength. We're going to get you to actually use that strength. Because that's one thing when you watch his film, there are times where he doesn't really, I don't know how to describe it. He could play with a little more grit and really use his strength more than what he's actually using it for. So you get him with the Duke Manyweather, you get him trained, you put him in these offseason programs where he's losing weight. It's the complete opposite of a Connor Williams, where we had to get him to gain weight and he still wasn't gaining weight. Osiris Torrance, lose weight. So overall, I'd love the pick. I think you got to go offensive line. And like I said, I want a dominant offensive line, because if you have a dominant offensive line, you ain't worried about the San Francisco 49ers and them stopping your run game. You ain't worried about that.
There's another guy that I was looking at in the Senior Bowl as well. His name is McClendon Curtis from Chattanooga. This guy, I mean, he can probably be there in the second, third round. So not a lot of people, I'm sure he's not a household name, but when you get a chance, pull him up, man. This guy here he's a beast, and he could probably fit in again to create the depth that we need. If you go and look at our roster, like I say again, our roster is depleted on the offensive side of the ball, and we don't talk much about the defense because Dan Quinn did his job. He did his job, but we definitely have to deal with the elephant in the room, and that's the offense. And like you said, Chris, it starts with our offensive line. So I totally agree with that.
And
do you guys think that Dan Quinn has any input into the draft as far as, do you think we're going to do anything on the defensive side?
Yes, 100%. The reason why Sam Williams is on this team is because Dan Quinn wanted him on this team.
Yep.
He was a big proponent of drafting Sam Williams. And I mean, man, you talk about somebody who I think could take the next step next year.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Sam Williams. I mean, he's got a lot of potential, man. He's got a lot. There were times where he looked like a young Myles Garrett out there. Yeah. Not saying he's going to be that, but I'm just saying the way you remember that Green Bay game where they lined him up at 3 tech and he just ran over the guard. I mean, with no effort, and just sacked Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Well, here's a question, guys. So somebody wants to know, and this is a good topic.
Oh, Chris.
Come on, Rue. What do you think, Rue? Do we keep LVE or do we let him walk?
I don't think you have a choice. I think you have to keep him for right now until you see. I mean, with how we are right now, we got to keep him right now. And this defense looked different without him on that field, if we're being honest with ourselves. This defense without him on that field looked different. And, I mean, it's not like you got to pay LVE a lot of money. I mean, it's going to be like another 1-year deal kind of thing, veteran minimum. I mean,
I don't know about that, Rue. After what he did this year, I mean, there might be some other teams that offer him a little bit more. What do you think about it, big fella?
I would like Armando to answer the question first.
Okay, go ahead, Mondo.
So I say no. I say LVE if his injuries over the years, I feel like it's become a thing where it's just we're getting it every year. So I say let him walk. I'll agree with Rudo. The defense did look different when he wasn't on the field, But again, I feel like when these players come into the contract year, we see a different side, and we're like, oh man, do we keep him? Okay, because he's looking better. But yeah, I say let LV walk, and if we can draft in the late rounds, or we can find somebody out there, and I'm pretty sure there's gonna be free agency. Somebody's gonna be out there.
And we have some young ones that should step up. I mean, Devin Harper's still there, Jabril Cox. Like, there's young linebackers that should step up for this team. So even if they keep him, probably I'm hoping he doesn't finish the year as the starter. That was kind of my hope this year, but we'll, maybe next year.
Yeah. What do you think, big fella? That's that's Brent. That's B2 Real's guy. So I mean, I understand you come on with it. We got to hear it.
In terms of Leighton Van, it all depends what his market is. It all that's what it's all going to depend on. If he's asking for like 3 years, I don't know, 30 million. I don't know. I don't think you can do that just because of his injury history as well.
No.
It's hard. This one's hard with me because I think you should re-sign Wilson and you should re-sign Hankins.
Woo!
But I just don't know with LV. It's really going to depend on what his market value is. If you're telling me we can sign him like a 3-year, $15 million contract,
3 years. Oh my gosh!
But I mean, for 15 million, I mean, he's not like old or anything. I think he's like 28 years old, 27, 28 years old. I believe he's around that range. So you sign him for 3 years at $5 million. I don't think it's bad. I don't think that's a bad deal at all.
It's not bad, but we brought in some new. We also, like to say, we got Devin Harper. We also have Damone Clark.
That is true.
So do you want to give him a 3-year extension? When we just drafted these guys, you might could give him a 1 year.
I don't think he's going to take it though. I think he's going to want, because look, whoever was representing him did a horrible job, because the fact that they were able to sign him to a 1-year contract that was worth less than his 5th-year option. I mean, the Cowboys finessed him, just straight up finessed him, and his agent let them do it. I mean, what the Cowboys got away with this year with LVE is just, what did they sign him? What was he, like $2 or $3 million or something like that?
We didn't pick up his 5th-year option and we gave him a 1-year deal. It wasn't much, but it was one of those prove it years. That's what it was. So
I think I'm ready now, Gary.
Okay, come on with it, brother.
Armando hit record.
B2 Real, are you listening to this?
LVE to the Cowboys defense is Roman Reigns in the WWE. He is the head of the table. Keep the wolf.
Wow!
Whoa! Keep the wolf hunter. That is what he said. Oh, B2 Real. Did you?
And he's driven the Roman Reigns reference too.
Oh, well, hey,
have spoken.
Which Roman Reigns, though? The 2016 Roman Reigns, where they all wanted him out of the company.
Wow.
Well, let me say why I say this, man, because y'all know I was the biggest proponent against LVE being on the team. Okay, I was disgusted with his play. I was disgusted about how he attacked the football. I was disgusted on his tackling skills. I was disgusted about a lot of things in the middle linebacker play for the Dallas Cowboys. Took him off the field and it got worse. We begged for Jabril Cox. We begged for what's the kid number 33? Oh, I forget his name.
Damon Clark.
Damon Clark. We begged for speed to get on the field, athleticism to get on the field, and they got on the field and they didn't show us a thing.
Damon Clark was pretty. Damon Clark showed some things.
Chris, he didn't show us a thing.
No,
okay.
No, he had a fine rookie season.
When they always try to charge me up about what I say, I bring back receipts on film. I've done it with LVE and I will do it with him too. So basically what I'm saying is, I'm talking about LVE right now. The reason why I say bring him back, because we have no other option to put in that linebacker position. So when he got back on the field, the defense improved. I know Chris is saying it. The big fella said it. It improved when he came back. And I thought that would never happen. I thought you would never get the big fella say the double nickel improved the defense. And he did. Okay? So until the Cowboys either get somebody on the field, like I wanted Bobby Wagner so bad last year, but we didn't get him. somebody in that caliber, you got to bring back LVE because he's the most stable player at that position.
Well, and then not only that, right? Like you hear a lot of people want Drew Sanders from Arkansas, who I think is a fantastic player.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's fantastic. But at the same time, the way I prefer a position like linebacker, I would prefer if they weren't the main guy at that position right away. Now, it might be a little different on the Cowboys defense because Jaron Curse is more so like the green dot guy. Even though I think LVE might be the green dot guy as well. But regardless, at one of those positions, I would prefer if they weren't the main guy right off the bat. Now, if it's a guy like Roquan Smith, if you're drafting him,
it's fine. A wrap. It's a wrap.
Fine. Then fine. Forget LVE. He can be the middle linebacker. He can be the leader of that defense. But I do agree with you. I just hope that the Cowboys take one of these early picks, which is why I want them to go sign wide receivers and cornerbacks so that we can address other needs in the draft, which to me is draft an off-ball linebacker in the second round. You can find really good off-ball linebackers in the second round.
He said Bobby Carpenter.
I'm sorry, I wasn't laughing at you, Chris. I saw that.
And when it popped up on the screen, I just could not help it. I could not help it. That was
bring Bobby Carpenter back.
That is probably one of the worst picks the Cowboys ever made.
Oh my gosh!
And Chris, that's your Ohio State player too.
Yeah. Who was it?
Chris said, "Shut up."
So let's do a poll real quick. So, Rue, are you bringing LV back or not? Yes or no?
Man, bring him back. Absolutely.
Rue, you bringing? Armando, you bringing him back? Yes or no?
Nope.
300-pounder, you bringing him back or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Chris, are you bringing him back? Yes or no?
It's such a hard question to answer.
Yes
right
or
now.
no?
Yes or no, Chris?
Yes or
no.
no?
Money, man. It's all about the money.
Yes or no?
Fine, I'll bring him back.
Well,
Gary,
personally, I'm not bringing him back. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the youngsters. I mean, one thing about it, and the reason I say that because Dan Quinn is a hell of a defensive coordinator, and I think that's why Damon Clark got the reps that he did because I know what you're saying, big fella. You're saying that he didn't show us much, but he was on the field quite a bit. For a rookie, he did okay. Now, how Dan Quinn feels about him, that's, like I said, we all making speculations, but I will go ahead and probably look at Clark and see what we can do with Jabril Cox. And maybe, now you bring those three in with who is this on the other side, with Parson on the other side. Man, that's nothing but speed. I mean, that's sideline to sideline. So I'm gonna say no.
Damone was also coming off the injury. Like he didn't.
Well, no, the spine deal.
He had like a pretty severe injury before this season.
Oh man, he balled out though. I mean, he's good.
Well, and that's the thing. That's what I wanted to tell Chris here. That's the thing with Damone Clark, right? Like he didn't have a training camp. And he came in, what's that, about a quarter of the way through the season or something around that, a little over a quarter of the way through the season.
Something like that. Yeah.
So that's what I will say. I do agree he didn't flash as much as you would have wanted him to, but I still think for a rookie, looking at the circumstances, I thought he was, I think he shows some promise. But some guys in the draft that, we could potentially draft who could play off-ball linebacker for you are, you got Simpson from Clemson, Sanders from Arkansas, Jack Campbell from Iowa, Gray from North Carolina, Overshone from Texas, and Dalen Henley from Washington State. Now, the two guys that really stick out to me, Sanders and Campbell. Now I haven't watched Campbell yet, but I mean
Campbell's from Iowa. Is that the kid from Iowa?
Iowa. And you want to know what? This is what I will say. It's a Big Ten football school. they, especially at a school like, Iowa, Wisconsin, those schools, I mean, they do a good job with their players over there.
They specialize on defense, right?
They produce good pros over there, especially in those trench positions. Granted, linebackers not. I don't know if you'd consider it a trench position, but those type of positions are very well coached, especially Big Ten football, especially at universities like that, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio State. They breed Penn State. Big Ten breeds some very solid football players. And, coming from Iowa, I think that's a guy you got to look at, Jack Campbell, and Sanders from Arkansas.
So, and that concludes our little part as far as our linebacker. So let's talk about this, because some of these outside, again, these media, the morning medias and whatever, are saying that the 26th pick, we should pick a cornerback. What do y'all think about that? We should get a cornerback at the 26th pick. I mean,
a cornerback?
Yeah. No, this is what they're saying.
Corner, like
a defensive back. Yeah, cornerback. Wow. So what do you think about that, Rue? You going to get a cornerback at 26?
No, I got to stick with what I've been saying, man. Because what I've been saying has been, I want the trenches. I want the meat and potatoes. I've been saying. I said that last year. I'm going to say it this year. And I understand the concern with corner, because it is a concern. But and I've seen Cowboys beat mention it, because I mean there are corners that are coming available as well. Like it seems like Marcus Peters could be out there. Like there's guys that you might be able to go get, because I understand the void, because with Anthony Brown going down to the with his ACL, it's that O-line and the corner position that are vulnerable right now. But again, we've drafted young in that corner position where we haven't in the lineman position. So for me, the lineman is more crucial than anything right now. I especially with the loss of Terrence Steele. If we didn't lose Terrence Steele, maybe I'd feel a little differently. But even if we didn't, I think I wouldn't. I think I'd feel the same way, because it's all about shoring up that O-line. Because we've moved so much, and not only have we moved so much, it's these guys are getting older. Tyron's getting older, Zach's getting older, and it's McGovern's been okay, but we're not really confident with him at that left guard spot. So it's like you've got key positions that you need to fill right now on that O-line, and it just shores up everything else. So when it comes to corner, we can probably find one. I hope. Again, with all these moves that Cowboys Beat was talking about making with with all the draft capital that we could get, or with the cap space that we could create, there's guys to go get. So no, I'm not drafting a corner in the first round. Absolutely.
Okay, so let me rephrase that. Let's try this, Chris. So what are we going to do at that? Because Anthony Brown might not be back. So what are we going to do about that open vacancy at corner that we need to be filled? Where are we going to go with that? Who are we going to put there?
So I think you have some options, right? Like the way I would do it is you have a lot of guys on this team that can play slot corner for you, right? Bland can play slot corner for you. Izzy McQuamu can play slot corner. Jordan Lewis, who's a good player, he can play slot corner as well. So here's my thing. For this year, I would put Deron Bland on the outside and kind of, get back to that outside cornerback position at another time. If you want his future to be on the outside, I wouldn't mind that. I'm perfectly fine with that, because look, this team does not draft cornerbacks well. They just don't. They don't do a good job at it.
Boss man fat, yeah.
I mean, this is the same team that 2 years ago drafted a corner in back-to-back rounds and missed on both of them. Mo Claiborne. Let's not forget about him. This team isn't necessarily great at drafting cornerbacks. So you have a guy that you drafted that has shown you that he has the ability to play on the outside. Put him on the outside. He's a 5th round pick. You're not going to have to pay. You're not going to have to pay him anything. And then you have 2 guys who are capable of playing slot corner for you. That's Israel McQuamu and that's Jordan Lewis. That's the way I attack this. Because that's the biggest gripe I've had with people's idea of how to handle this offseason. what's the need to draft a cornerback in the first round? Now, I would understand if you didn't have Trayvon Diggs. I would understand why you would draft a cornerback in the first round because it's a pressing need.
Yeah.
But you have Trayvon Diggs, and not only that, when it comes to drafting a cornerback, right? One thing that we have to take into account when you draft a guy, you want him to be here for the rest of his career. Like that is the goal. You want him to be good enough to be here for the rest of his career. If that's the case, like, look, people can fight me on this. The salary cap is a real thing. I mean, we're seeing good players having to be released for nothing because of the salary cap. It's a real thing. So 3-4 years down the line, it's my same gripe with drafting a receiver. 3-4 years down the line, when these guys are going to want to get paid, you're going to have to offload them, just like the Bengals are going to have to do with T. Higgins this offseason, most likely, just like the Eagles are going to have to do with Devontae Smith, most likely next season, because you can't pay two guys at the same position big time money unless it's, on the offensive line. But even still, they don't, it's not the same position. It's just a unit. Maybe defensive line, you can do that. But even still, it's just, you're kind of just drafting these guys.
Yeah.
And this is another thing. Sorry to go off on a rant here. This is kind of where the front office deludes some of these Cowboys fans' brains because they think that the only way to improve this team is through the draft. It's not. There's 3 phases to team building: free agency, trades, and draft. I hear people say, I want to go all in, so I want to draft this person in the draft. That's the problem. You're going all in by drafting a 21-year-old, 22-year-old kid and expecting him to make a big difference. Not everybody's Micah Parsons. Not everybody's Tyler Smith. Not, even CeeDee Lamb his first year wasn't a big impact player. It takes time to get into that, and especially when you're drafting at 26 as well. It's not like you're drafting a top 10 pick, so
yeah,
that's my little rant I went on, but to finish it off here, no, cornerback, I think you're fine. Dig, Bland, those are your boundaries. McQuamu, Lewis, those are your slot guys.
So what do you think, Rudy? What are you going to do about this corner, the open vacancy? Because I really don't think Anthony Brown will be back with the Cowboys. So who do you put in at that cornerback position over there?
I mean, Duran Blanc. I just blanked out. But yeah, Deron Bland in that spot. I mean, that's a great setup for what you can do. For what you could do with him, and he showed us this year that he can play. And man, we have draft capital to go out and get players too. And like he said, there's free agency available. So there's guys that we can go get throughout the league that, like he said, are cap casualties that are going to fall off and that we can probably go grab and put on this roster and fill it in the spots that we need to fill. But if I'm going to focus on anything, especially when it comes to this team, it's going to be on that O-line. Just because we've had more success in that spot. And that's just how this team is centered. To be completely honest, I mean, we've always. I feel like for the longest time, I feel like my whole lifetime we've had a problem in the secondary. I feel like that's always been a problem.
So I guess it's okay to say that we won't ask Rue any more questions because he's stuck on the offensive line. So it's no reason asking him about the cornerbacks, linebackers, running backs, or anything else because we know where his heart is set. O-line.
Dominant Pete's pretty good every day of the week.
So, okay, Armando, so here, with you, we would not ask that question because he's stuck. And I agree. I think we all agree with you on that, though.
I can't I literally went on a whole rant about the O-line. How am I just going to be like, yeah, let's get a corner? What am I supposed to do? I get the concern, but there's more rounds than round one. We got the second round. We got the third round.
And I'm not asking the draft.
I know we got a 5th round pick for Amari Cooper. Maybe that guy.
And you got a
The question is who would you put there, not to draft, because we know how you feel at 26. We just asked who would you put there, and you said Deron Bland, which I agree.
I mean, if it's and we have young players at that position. That I mean, we were figuring it out as that season went on.
Yeah.
Without Anthony Brown, and if anything makes me feel okay about this defense and the secondary and how everything's going to turn out, it's Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn will figure it out.
Yeah,
I have zero concern about coaching and how the players are going to be put in position and what's going to happen on the defensive side of the ball, just because I have faith in the guy who's running the thing.
Yeah.
I have faith that Dan Quinn is going to put the right people in the right place to make sure that this defense is going to be as good as it was last year. And it's just not a concern for me because I don't. I think I have faith in Dan Quinn. I think Dan.
And that's
Quinn's
why we
gonna take care
started
of
That's why we started the segment out with the offense, because that is our biggest concern. We all know that that's the biggest concern because, again, we don't know what's going to happen with this offense. We have two situations here. We got to figure out what the Cowboys are going to do with Dak. I mean, I don't think there's any action that takes place until they figure out what they're going to do with Dak. Are they going to free up money? Or are they going to allow Dak to play for this money and draft a quarterback? We don't know. So that's where, like you said, where the first domino will fall. But to you, Armando, this is your question. Between the two, who are you bringing back? Malik Hooker or Donovan Wilson? We're going to finish it up.
Donovan Wilson.
Donovan Wilson.
Wilson. I got to. The way he balled out there, but that's tough, man. You got you want to bring both, but if it's just one, I'm
man,
going
that type of question is saying which kid you like the most.
and it's true, because and it is. I mean, because both of them balled out, but you have to choose one. So Chris, what do you think about that before we end this out? Because I done had you guys on here for a while tonight. I'm sorry about that, but what do you think, Chris? Malik Hooker
since you making me choose a child.
Yeah, you got to choose. You got to save one. You got to let one drown.
I'm gonna choose the most aggressive one to make the most plays, Wilson.
Yeah. And I agree, but that's where we are, guys, at the safety position. We got to figure out how are we going to bring Donovan Wilson back? And the only way you're going to do that is we have to free up money. And that means we might have to release Zeke. We might have to send Pollard. We might have to send Tyron Smith. Again, we're just speculating, but we have to see what they're doing in the war room. But we'll have to see. Time will tell. But again, I say the first domino might fall now that we brought it up between Tampa Bay and the Cowboys. That could be the first domino to drop. So you guys got any last comments you want to make? Anybody?
If we can get anything, if there was any way to get anything out of Tony Pollard, I hope they go out and get it. I really, really do. I feel like if we got that kind of capital, it'd be the best thing for this team.
Hey, question. So Zeke gets post June 1st, you get $10 million for Zeke. Pre June 1st, you get 5 or 4 point something, 8 something, or something along those lines. Do you take the money now, or do you take the money later?
I'm taking the money now.
Yeah.
I agree. Now
I work at a casino, so I always tell everybody take the money and run.
Take the money and run. Take the money and run.
It'd be great if Zeke could take a pay cut, man. I'm not even gonna lie. It would be amazing if he could. I mean, because then at that point, I don't see where Zeke's gonna make money in the NFL. I don't know who's gonna want to pick up Ezekiel Elliott.
No,
I mean, I don't see it. But if he stays in Dallas, the best way he could possibly go about this is, okay, you're paying me what, $15-16 million? Pay me $6 million. You'll get your $9 million freed up that you can use right now, and I still make probably 3 times more money than I'll make anywhere else. Matter of fact, he'll probably make more than that because there's no state income tax in Texas.
Right. So 6 is the magic number. Chris, 300 pounds. You got any last words?
Man, sorry that I was late, but I didn't think we would have many things to say about Cowboy football today. But it's always exciting to talk about the boys. Enjoyed it again.
That's what's up. Rue, what's your last and final word, my man?
Man, season can't get here soon enough, man. Really can't. It just ended, but I'm ready for it to go again. Hell no, man. I will not do that. That I will not do, Chris. I will not cheer on Bob Stoops. I will not do that. I will not cheer Bob Stoops. I don't care. I don't care. That's the only Chris, let me know when you're ready to go, buddy.
Hey, I'll let you know, G. We're going to roll out.
Yeah. With that being said, guys, I'm going to say this. I'm excited to see what this offense is going to look like. I'm just sitting back waiting to see what it's going to look like. I mean, again, that's why we talked about the offense, because that's our biggest concern. So that's where I am. I'm just waiting to see what we're going to do with Dak, what this offense is going to look like. So, hey, that's my final thought. So, hey, guys, with that being said, like we always say, we want to say thank y'all for being a part of this channel. Make sure you hit the like button, make sure you comment and share this video, because this is where you get the real Cowboy news. So, and again, Cowboys beat Chris. We appreciate you coming on. You're always welcome to come on and help us out and chime in, because we love your content. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. Like I always say, don't nothing come to a sleeper but a dream. So let's make it happen. Dallas Cowboys. Deuces.
Cowboys.